Hi everyone, this is Angie from angieexcels.com, and today I'll be talking about index and match. In this video, I'll be answering when should I use index and match, what is index and match syntax and argument, where to find index and match, and how does it work. Okay? If you've been reading my blogs from www.angieexcels.com, or if you've been watching my YouTube videos in this channel, you know that I've covered index and match separately. But if you haven't, pause this video, go to www.angieexcels.com, look for, blog about index and blog about match, or if you don't want to read, just, go to my channel and look for those tutorials to get a little bit of an idea of how those two functions work separately. Okay, so go ahead, pause this, go to my website or channel, and also don't forget to subscribe. Okay, you get more updates faster, and also you can also get the practice data set for free if you're subscribed. Okay, anyway, moving on. So when should I use index and match? So you can use index and match to replace VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. If you haven't heard of VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, I also wrote about it. I also covered a tutorial about VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. So if you want to learn more about it after this video, go ahead and go to my website or my channel and it will be there. So you can use index and match to replace VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, and you can use index and match when your data is organized vertically or by columns, horizontally, or by rows, or both. Okay, so with VLOOKUP you can only use it when your data is organized vertically, and with HLOOKUP you can only use it when your data is organized horizontally. If your data is organized both, then you have to mesh VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP together, which is a little bit of confusing. That's why I prefer using index and match, because it's more flexible and more dynamic. And what I mean by dynamic is, just look at those benefits over VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So number one is you can just select the ranges of cell or the whole column or row that you need, instead of trying to figure out what position your, for example, return value is from your lookup value. Like, you don't need to count. You can just select the information that you need. Benefit number two, your return column or row can be anywhere. Okay, so with VLOOKUP, your return column has to be to the right of your lookup value or your lookup column. With HLOOKUP, your return row has to be to the bottom of your lookup row. Okay, so it's, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP has more strict rules, but with index and match it's more flexible, right? And like I said, it's more dynamic, because if you need to add a column or row in your data set, you don't have to worry that your formula will break because of reasons 1 and 2 that I mentioned earlier. You don't have to recount where your return column is. For example, maybe it was 5 before, and then you added 5 columns, and now you're not sure if it's 10 or 11, right? And you have to figure out again. But with index and match, because you're just selecting the ranges of cell, if you did not lock it, then when you add, for example, those columns, it will just automatically update, which is awesome and a time saver. Okay, and benefit number 4 is you can use index and match with multiple criteria and with more complex calculation. I'm not going to go over number 4 in this video or in this tutorial, but I will show you guys the top 3 benefits that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so moving on. What is index and match syntax and argument? So there's the syntax. I'm not even gonna read it. Just look at it. Don't get cross-eyed. But as you can see, it's kind of complicated, right? Because now you have two functions that you're blending together. But like everything in life, everything in education and learning, you've got to break it down. So for index, the only part per se that you need from the function is the array. Okay, array is the column or row where the return value is located. Okay, and then comma, and then for match, you're gonna use the whole function, the whole syntax. Okay, so match, you need the lookup value, which is the known value that you have available that references the return value. What I mean by that is, for example, you need someone's phone number, right? And it's in your cell phone, it's in your contacts. You look for the name of the person. You don't look for the number right away, right? For example, if the store is, for example, Papa John's, right? You need the number. You need the phone number of Papa John's. So you look for Papa John's in your contact instead of the number. Does that make sense? So that's what lookup value is. Lookup array is the ranges of cell, row, or column where your lookup value is located. Okay, so in the example I gave earlier, your lookup array is your contacts in your cell phone. Okay, match type is optional. So if you want an exact return according to your lookup value, then you enter 0. If you leave it blank or enter 1, it will give you the largest value that is less than or equal to the lookup value. If you enter -1, match will look for the smallest value that is greater than or equal to the lookup value. I know that it sounds kind of gibberish, so pause this and look for the match video that I have, the match tutorial that I have, and I explained it there more, what it means, and I showed, in the tutorial exactly what that looks like. Okay? So, moving on. Where to find index and match? Okay? So, if you've seen some of my videos, some of my tutorials, you know that I show two ways how to find, a function. One is the long way because I want you guys to get familiarized, and the other one is more of the shortcut, which is typing in. In this case, index and match, you can still find each function separately and individually, but together you can't do that. When one function is open, using the Excel ribbon, and I'll show it to you guys. When one is open, you cannot open another one. Okay, and I'll show you what that means. Okay, so I'm here with the practice data set, and so if I go to formulas, right, lookup and reference, you see how index and match are there, right? So let's just say I open index. Let's say I use the array formula, and I select where the phone number is, just for example, right? In this case, I need match. I cannot open another function from the Excel ribbon. As you can see, they're all grayed out. Okay, I can type it in here, but I think that's more confusing because it's asks you for the row number and then it asks you again for the column number. For me, it's confusing, right? So in this case, I recommend typing it in instead. Okay, and I'll show it to you on the second video what that looks like. Okay. Okay, so how does index and match work together? So to answer that question, I actually have another video because I will be using the practice data set, and there will be two scenarios. One is when your data is organized vertically and the other one is organized horizontally, and you will see how flexible index and match is. So if you're curious about that, go ahead and pause this and go to the next video. I think there's a link up there. So yeah. So again, as I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed to my blog, please go to www.angieexcels.com, and I update my blog on Excel every Monday, and I covered other things and professional development articles every last Friday of the month. And if you want more tips on Excel or just motivational quotes or professional development quotes, go to www.instagram.com/angieexcels and follow me. I post quotes and Excel tips almost every day from Sunday to Friday, and it also goes to my Facebook, so go to www.facebook.com/angieexcels, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy learning!